Today we'll be talking about updating our 2020 predictions. So Tom, we got a lot of comments on our 2020 predictions for the new year, and some of those comments had to do with specifics such as the stock market, politics, that sort of thing.
Yes.
So it's funny, I find that a lot of people ask about politics, but they don't really want to know the answer unless it's what they want.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think everybody should just shut their TV off for the next year and just call it a night, you know?
Well, it's hard to do that when Pluto and Saturn are in Capricorn. So yeah,
okay.
it seems to be the only thing we're going to talk about. But I wanted to address the fact that, you know, when we're doing predictions and we're talking about when someone says, so, but you didn't mention the stock market, you didn't mention who would be elected. You know, this gets into that sort of area where people think that astrologers predict things specifically, which in my world, I don't believe that's possible. Astrology is a symbol language. It describes energy patterns. And so when I'm looking at someone's chart in terms of what's going on in their life now or coming up in the year, I'm looking at the energy patterns. They'll tell me what's going on, and then I'll talk about what they're doing with what's going on. And so, for example, someone may have a relationship. It could be ending or beginning, anything relationship oriented. And so, you know, people go, so am I going to find somebody? And I said, do you want to look?
Right.
You know, there are windows where energy is happening all the time in our lives that we're not aware of. That's why you go to someone like me.
So when you look at the chart, you see a pattern, but what you can do is and I find astrology to actually be very good for being able to predict certain events because you apply it to the possibilities
Absolutely.
of what it could mean. So you're able to kind of narrow down what that aspect
Yes.
is indicating. So it could be a huge emotional upset and you're trying to steer and navigate your way through understanding through the signs what may be coming up for the person.
Yeah, 9 out of 10 times I said, what's going on right now is you're feeling this way or that way, and this is what's going on because of the going, you're right, that's exactly what I've been going through. So I'm just describing what I'm feeling your energy would do with this type of situation that is happening, what change is going on, what desires are happening that you may not be aware of that I can see are happening. But when someone says, you know, what about the stock market? Well, as an example, the planet Uranus, which means revolutionary change, moved into the sign of money, which rules the stock market, a year ago and will be there for 7 years. So revolutionary change and volatility in the stock market is bound to happen, and it's already happening because, you know, you can see the market's way up high. It won't stay that way. Everything's cyclical. Will it crash? All these things. Mm-hmm. That's just one thing. So you can just say there's a lot of unpredictability, but there's going to be...
Or it can stay high for a while and everybody can benefit. So, I mean, it can
Yes.
be, you can put a positive or a negative spin on
That's
anything
my point.
that you're reading.
And it's
right.
how you want to interpret it because you want a specific answer.
Right, right.
And, you know, the thing is that it is going to go through a lot of revolutionary changes in how we are looking at our economy. And once again, in politics, that's one of the biggest issues. Everyone's concerned about money. And different factions are looking at different ways they're looking about money. And even saying, well, can you predict who's going to win the election? Now, that's a big, big load of question because...
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Just,
Astrology will do this all day long. And the last election, almost 9 out of 10 astrologers said Hillary Clinton. So that just tells you how good it is. Oh, yeah.
That shocks me
Very
because
few would say...
All of the psychics I knew said Trump.
Yeah, well...
So,
and the reason I say that is because a lot of times it's hard for, say, the astrologer himself not to put his own wishes into his predictions. I don't do any of that.
That's
and I'm looking at, again, the energy of what the Saturn-Pluto conjunction means. And it means transformations of governmental systems. My actual prediction, if I gave you one, is that you're going to have one extremely on the right and extremely on the left because the moderates are not going to solve the problem because that's not what transformation of structural system means. We don't just mildly go about maybe something we've done before. People are going to stick to tradition or they're going to blow it out of the water.
And this isn't just for our country. This is for countries
worldwide.
Around the world.
This
so
is
China,
worldwide.
you're seeing the revolutionary activity in Hong Kong.
Iran and Iraq.
So much upheaval, but with upheaval, the metamorphosis, with death can come rebirth. So I think a lot of the countries that have the right intending people behind it
That's the
will
point.
rise.
It's the consciousness of the masses that will make the decision and determine our destiny, just like in your own specific choice of what change you make in your life is determined by what you choose to do. But if you look at governmental systems, you can look at Putin, who just recently said, I want to change the entire government.
Right.
And that's just the kind of thing we're experiencing worldwide. So, and even when we're looking at climate change and earth changes, once again, the planet of revolutionary change is in the sign of Earth, which is Taurus. And so it's affecting wild shifts and dynamics, whether it's happening because of our involvement, part of it, but it's also an energy that just seems to be happening at this time. And by the way, 7 years.
Well, and it is a 4-year this year, which is in the Cancer energy, the crab. And I find that we're the mother to the world.
We are the
we're
mother
mothering the world.
Nurturing the world,
So
yes.
if people are always out there, and I hear this a lot from people, feel like we're having to take care of the whole world, well, we kind of are. We do. We are motherly to the children, so to speak.
Cancer's dependency and dependency of resources, and who are the ones that we're giving all the money to, and who are we? Most of our food goes around the world, and these types of things. So we are those that are dependent, Cancer, on us and the decisions we make first before they decide, well, which way should we go?
Right. I find with all the Capricorn aspects, so like you had said, all of the Capricorn and Saturn going on rules the government. Mm-hmm. And most of the year's energy, I think, is going to be about money, government, and mm-hmm. like you had said, the establishment, or people looking for a father figure that will take care of them. Mm-hmm. They're looking to either make money, or it can be the flip side of that. Oh, let Bernie take care of us and pay for us. So it's however you read it, is what the patriarchy is. So
it's way too early to decide because the mass consciousness is completely decided at this point.
There's a lot of variables, and you have Gen Z that's coming up now of age, and they're actually paying attention, and they're going to factor into the election this year.
And women are having a huge factor now in politics. But the interesting thing is that we say it's politics and money. Well, know that politics doesn't rule money. Money rules politics. So it always comes back to that, because that's how we run our country now, because the politicians are manipulated by the money, and that's been going on for a very long time.
Well, look at Bloomberg running and throwing around $1 billion right now.
But that's the funny thing. We elected a billionaire, and now we have 2 billionaires running on the left side of the division. So it doesn't surprise me at all.
A lot of money.
And what if that is the revolutionary change, that we just accept the fact that money is going to be a part of how we do our elections, whoever can afford it?
I have to say, in a counter to that, in the last election, the Democrats far outspent the Republicans, and the Republicans still won. So it's not who spends the money, it's what the people say.
But it's also what they see, because the billionaire businessman makes it feel like, well, that person knows what they're doing and they can take care of us because we don't have those resources.
Here's my hedge fund. Take care of my account. Oh my gosh.
And remember, the majority of the population do not own stock. So even though we, say the stock market is doing great, it's not real cash in your pocket, and it's not the majority of people that are involved.
It's a lot of the people that are bosses or that have something to lose and that run things, I find, around the world.
Well, and your 401k if you're a worker.
Okay, you gotta love the 401k though, right? I mean, that's a good thing.
But it got wiped out in the last recession, and now it's back. So this is how it works. It's cyclical.
Well, I guess that's lucky for the boomer generation, because it's back in time for them to need some money. So that's a good thing. They could take a cruise, take a vacation.
Yeah, we get health care and money now, and you guys get nothing.
Oh no, we get the satisfaction of knowing we're taking care of all of you.
Which means you won't.
So with 2020 and relationships, you had spoke about metamorphosis, and this applies to everybody out there. Mm-hmm. Relationships will be finding new ways of being, either ending or beginning, finding that new love, finding the relationship, finally getting married after 7 years of a guy saying, just wait, what's the hurry?
Yeah.
Having a baby. This year is going to have a lot of family energy in making it so that I think you're going to see a lot of the families go back to traditional families, where they want the 2 kids and the dog. And you're going to see more of that instead of the upheaval that we've had of, women maybe not wanting kids and guys wanting to dress like Harry Potter a little too long. You're going to see a lot of them growing up and, having a mortgage and 2 cars.
Relationships have changed by virtue of the fact that the majority of women now are working and mothers. And so you can see the gender roles changing very much over the last, especially 40 years, but especially the last 20. to where you're a working mom. You know, Joe, your husband has been home with the kids a lot while you worked. This is all brand new. No generation prior to yours really had that experience. And so we're all trying to figure that one out because, you know, now that's why we have paid leave for not just for moms, but for dads too. That's brand new.
Paid leave? What? We didn't have that.
You work for yourself.
Oh, nice. Oh my gosh.
You could give yourself time off.
I think Joe, when I had our kids, got 2 days off to be at home with me, and then it was all up to me. So we didn't get the luxury of take 3 months off and get back to us. So this is new to me, trying to understand. You know, we're a hardworking country.
Yes.
How much time do you take off? I guess so. But I do own my own business, so I get to set my schedule, which is nice.
Yes.
But I don't have little kids, so it doesn't matter anymore.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So speaking of relationships, well, a while back, Alice and I did a video on relationships, and we had celebrities involved. And one of the things we were talking about was
the opposing signs.
The opposing signs and how certain signs get along with others. And one of the examples was Brad Pitt, Jennifer Aniston, and Angelina Jolie. And, you know, our sort of prediction was we really felt that Brad and Jen should get back together. And so last night was the SAG Awards, and that's all everyone talked about because they kind of got together. Everything they were doing was hugging and talking and laughing. And so we're like, maybe it's going to happen. And
in layman's terms, Angelina Jolie was a Gemini, Brad Pitt was a Sag. So they oppose each other. They never should have been together. And Jen Aniston, was she the Sag or the Moon and Sag?
She's an Aquarian with the Moon and Sag.
She's the Aquarius with the Moon and Sag. So they have the Sun-Moon connection. So Brad and Jen completely belong together. Totally. Best friends, never should have broken up, except that Brad wanted to be a father, and that's
that was his Capricorn moon.
That's what he got, and so he got a lot of kids, so he got that. But now he can find maybe his way back to his true best friend. And I've met Jen, and she's a real salt of the earth, sweet lady. So I hope that she gets her guy back, and
well, it's interesting.
They ride off in the sunset.
I think how just when you used to see them together, they just made you feel happy seeing them together. They seemed like a perfect couple. So that was sort of
they lit up a room.
And so when I saw the pictures of them last night at the awards, it was the same energy. It was like, oh my God, they so are perfect together.
Dreams do come true. So it's going to be a good year. Please don't be afraid of 2020. I'm very excited. I know Aquarians tend to adapt more easily. So to me, the excitement isn't scary. And I think a lot of signs get freaked out by it. But this year is going to have a lot of opportunity, both personally, relationships, friendships, career-wise. Great year to start a business. I mean, get excited about this year. Shake off 2019, where everybody was inundated with information and there was just infighting everywhere and conflict. If you're getting overwhelmed, shut off the TV. It's completely in your control and your power to de-stress your life. So like you declutter a closet, de-stress your life. And if politics and what's online and social media is making you feel unhappy, turn it off. Go watch a comedy. Go see a movie. Get some ice cream. Go live. And stay objective. Don't internalize and become subjective in what you're listening and hearing to. It's not happening to you. It's just happening. Right. So the dynamic is that when we talk about change, we talk about threats to our security, whatever. It's fear. Fear, that's all it is. And so realize that change can be an adventure. It doesn't have to be some horrible, awful thing that's going to happen because you have no control over it. We don't have a control over anything except our choices within what happens to us. How we choose to react to something is really the only power we have. Stay objective. You're so wise. Oh, thank you. It's good advice. So there's a lot going on around the world, as you had known would happen in 2020, country to country. Different energies are having different turnovers. One thing going on with our friends in Great Britain is that we have Brexit. Right. And so for all those nosy Nellies out there that just really want to know what's going to happen, what's going to happen? I'm just kidding. Well, we know what's going to happen is going to happen because it seems to keep always going back to that no matter how they try to stop it. It's going to happen. It's just part of, again, cultural, governmental shifts, people's idea of, being populous nations, being inclusive or being their own world. This is just a part of all the things that we're trying to figure out.
And we got Brexit and now Megxit. So we've got Harry and Meghan. They say we're no longer going to be part of the royal family. That's huge in Britain.
That's a big deal.
And that happened like overnight. It's like, okay, this is just, and it just happened right at the beginning of this year.
Right.
So there's an indication of what we can expect.
The way they're going about it is ruffling a lot of feathers with people.
Because it's moving against tradition.
Well, and if they're not going to be paid for by the taxpayers who's paying for their security and such. So it'll be interesting to see how they figure that out.
They're already worth millions. They could just live off the, money they have.
Okay, let me just say, I'm sure he is, but his grandmother holds the purse strings too. So let's be clear, the lady's in charge of this one.
Of course you'd like that, yeah.
Straighten your crown. She's got this. So with Brexit, though, when it happens, say they leave the EU, you're going to be fine.
Yes.
Everything's going to be fine.
Yes.
You're still going to be able to pick up the phone and call somebody in Germany. You're still going to hear from people in France. The whole world's not going to be shut out if England Brexits. And I don't see a downside to it, except that people are just really, really afraid of something different, which is what you're talking about with the metamorphosis of countries. That's huge for England.
Yes, it is.
And for Ireland.
Yes.
Because Ireland would become its own country. Would they make them their own sovereign nation then? Is that what happens?
I don't know. Maybe Harry and Meghan take over it.
They'll take Ireland.
They'll take Ireland. Sorry, Mom, we got Ireland.
I don't think that's it right
Grandma.
with Ireland.
Yeah. Sorry, Grandma, we got Ireland.
He's got the hair. That's about it. So they're going to live in Canada and raise their son to not be royal, but to know he's royal, apparently.
He's going to know he's royal.
Of course he's going to know he's royal. I mean, it's just interesting. Everybody's looking for a way to do things differently.
But we said when we did Archie, we did a thing on Archie, and we said Archie came in with this like rebel spirit. So he's already being told we're rebel parents. So.
Oh, he'll follow in Dad's footsteps.
Absolutely.
No doubt he'll be in Vegas.
Yeah, because he's firstborn. Of course he will. Yeah.
He'll make the news too. But the more that you announce that you don't want anything to do with being in the public, oh my God, the paparazzi is going to come after them. The press is going to hound them even more because the pictures will probably be worth more.
Of course. Yeah.
Instead of saying, okay, I'm going to let everybody take my picture and then call it a day where they don't follow you.
They're going to do talking, make money off books and talking and lecturing and whatever, and their causes, and they're all going to be paid goo gobs of money for it.
It'll be interesting to see because a lot of his fan base resides in England, and we'll see how England responds to his exit, his Megxit.
It's Megxit, yeah.
So I hope we've answered some more specific questions for you about what to expect or what to look for in 2020. Also about how we can apply our own system of abilities to reading future events and how that works. So thank you for joining us. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Allison.
Till next time. If you liked our video, please like and subscribe.
And for more information about us, you can go to tommcmullen.com or AllisonDubois.com.